So you had a feeling that she was interested in you sexually, correct?
In something, yes. So sexually, personally, something, for sure.
All right. And you felt the same way?
I did.
How did you communicate that to her?
By her being with me, just going to lunch with me and talking to me, and the laughing, the smiling, and
So where would you go to lunch? What types of places?
Little restaurants around the gym, and that's mainly the same place, like little restaurants, little Thai places, little because I like Asian food, so we used to go there a lot.
Okay. And would you meet her there? Would you pick her up? Did she pick you up? How'd that work?
We would meet. We would meet. Most of the time we would meet. In the beginning we would meet because we didn't want to be seen in public together at the same time.
Was that her desire, yours, or both?
It was hers, and I agreed with her.
Did you agree to keep it secret?
I did.
But did you tell anybody that you had a girlfriend or someone
not
on the
at first.
side or anything like that?
No, not at first. It took a while. I waited a long while.
Well, how long a while would you estimate you waited before you let anyone know that you had someone on the side, so to speak?
I'm thinking about maybe 6 months, 8 months. It's just an estimate.
Okay. So would that have been before the end of the year or Christmas time, 2016?
Yes, before.
And the relationship began in 2016, is that what you said?
Right, I think.
About what month?
February? Okay. January, February, something like that. Oh, January, yeah, January.
Okay.
That's when I met her.
When you engaged in sexual relations, where did that take place?
In my apartment.
And that was located where?
Canoga Park.
Would you meet there? Would you take her? Did she take you? How'd that work?
We'd meet there. I'd tell her where to go, where to park. She could park a car, just come up.
Remember the address?
Not anymore.
Street?
It's Independence.
Okay. What kind of vehicle were you driving at that time?
I was driving a Mustang or a Expedition.
You recall what kind of vehicle she was driving?
She's either driving a Mustang or a pickup truck. And
again, how did you communicate to let each other know you would meet somewhere?
Using texting, usually Viber.
All right.
Or a phone call, a direct phone call.
Okay. But a direct phone call would be easy to trace, isn't that right?
Yeah, because there was really nothing going on, but...
What about when things started going on? Did you use just Viber or did you use other means?
Actually, now that you brought it up, we use Viber because Viber had a phone. You can actually use their phone. They had a phone set up where you could use the phone itself on a system. Now that I thought of it, now when you said that, it just kicked in.
I'm not real clear on this because I don't know this stuff as well as others. Would you use your regular phone and then have the Viber app? Could you use that as a regular phone? Or
yes, that's what it was. So we use Viber a lot to talk too.
I mean, could you talk or did you have to send text messages?
You can do both on that app.
All right. And how did she get that app? Did you tell her how to do that?
Yeah, I told her to download it and how to use it.
All right. So during that period, and you know that the murder of Fabio took place the following January, correct?
Okay.
So were you seeing her about a year before he was murdered?
Yes.
Did she ever indicate to you that she was going to leave him for you?
We talked about it, and it didn't seem like it was going to, it didn't seem like it was really going to happen.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't push it because I don't want to run her away.
So did she talk to you about, ever tell you that she would divorce her husband for you?
We touched on it lightly, but I could tell that she wasn't going to do that. That wasn't going to happen.
And eventually, did that become one of the reasons why you decided to murder him?
I murdered him because I wanted her.
Well, you kind of had her already, but not the way you wanted, or what?
Absolutely. I didn't have her the way I wanted her. I wanted to have easier access. I wanted her to be around me and with me. More, like all the time.
When you first started seeing her on the side, Did you go on dates with places with other friends of yours or friends of yours?
You mean dates as in romantic
Well,
dates?
did you go to dinner? When you went to dinner, was it always just, or lunch, was it always the two of you, or did you ever go with other friends of yours?
Eventually, we did go with other friends of mine. You talking about with Monica? You talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Does Ron Ray ring a bell?
Who?
Ron Ray?
Yes.
Sheila Salikian?
Yes.
And Ricardo? Remember Ricardo?
Yes. Like
Matt
I said,
Nurse?
eventually. Who?
Matt Nurse? Remember him?
I didn't go on a date with him, but I do remember him.
No.
I mean, not a date with him, but with him to go.
So you would go and take her on dates or events with your friends, but I take it never with her friends. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
All right. That because you wanted to keep it secret?
That's what I would assume.
Well,
I knew that's what it was.
So at any time did she tell you that anyone else in her family or her friends knew about you?
No.
That's the way she wanted to keep it?
Yes.
So tell me how, on a typical day, you would make arrangements to see her. Would it be in advance, or would it be on a moment's notice on a daily basis?
It could be either or. It depends on what was going on for the day. Like if it was an advanced thing, if she knew of something that he was doing something, or she was available for whatever reasons, because I'm fighting the schedule with her whole family. So, and then the other time when it's instant, it's more like, what are you doing? And how? Good morning. How you doing? I got some time here. I got some time there. It was kind of sporadic. It was all over the place.
In Los Angeles, was the sex always at your location, your residence?
For the most part, yeah. Well, yeah. For the most part, most of the time.
And who decided how the relationship would go? In other words, did you let her do her own thing? Were you the one who decided, or how did that work?
I guess we both kind of decided, really. We both decided. I mean, one would take the lead, I would take the lead. You know, it's a relationship, you know. It's a relationship.
Okay. Did you ever tell her what to do?
Well, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes.
Give me an example.
Take your clothes off. Something like that. That's something I would tell her to do. Or, I mean, it just varied. It's just a feeling.
He came right down and said it to this jury as it pertains to Fabio. He said, I murdered him because I wanted her with me all the time. There it is. Do you believe it? I don't know if I do. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, Baker continues testifying about his relationship with Monica Sementilli. Keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, new details emerge in the search for an American college student who vanished in the Dominican Republic. We'll bring you the very latest in this developing story.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV. Join Court TV's Vinny Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinny Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Before we head back to court, I want to bring in our guest, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Marsha Minot. Marsha, you heard what I said going into the break. He said a couple of things that I think the defense are really banking this whole case on. That Monica, he said straight out, Monica had nothing to do with this. This was all me. When asked why he did it, he said, I murdered him because I wanted her with me, eventually said, with me all the time. Are you buying it?
It's a good motive. It has happened. People have affairs all across this country every single day. What this jury is looking for is, did she know, or would she have known, that this affair would have led to the murder, or did she conspire? So far, I think they're doing good. What we're waiting on, though, is cross-examination. Because remember, when you've only heard one side of the story, you haven't heard cross, it can look a little way and then go a different way once prosecution gets up.
How big of a gamble is putting Robert Baker on the stand for the defense, Marsha? Because It's almost as if you're putting the defendant herself. You know, we talk about this all the time. When you put a defendant on the stand, the case really becomes about the defendant. This witness, Robert Baker, is so big for the defense. Is it almost the same kind of effect where this really becomes about Robert Baker and whether they believe him or not, as far as whether she's guilty or not?
It is. This is the first case I've ever seen, the battle of the convicts. So the battle is between the testimony of the state's witness, who has flipped and decided to become state witness to testify that Monica was involved in the conspiracy. But if you look at his testimony, you realize, Michael, he never really said she was involved at the beginning. So when you do a totality of the circumstances and compare his testimony that he's trying to add Monica after the fact, you realize that what the jurors have to decide is who they believe, the other felon or this one.
Yeah, and he says to her when they're both incarcerated and talking to each other, writing notes to each other, jail calls, etc., he says, I'm going to tell them that you weren't involved. That's what I'm going to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that she was and he's going to lie for her. There was never at any point where he suggested she was, like you said, involved in this. But here's the thing that I'm thinking. He didn't do a deal, right? That means he has no incentive to lie. But he also has no incentive to tell the truth.
Well, he does, because guess what? His incentive is, I got nothing to lose. And if you want to consider that an incentive, and that's why I believe he is going to be more credible than the other individual who said, hey, my testimony, I just wanted to go home. I watched the line of testimony of the co-defendant, and all he kept saying is, I just wanted to go home. I was going to tell them what I needed to tell them. I didn't bring up her name initially, and then I added her name after the fact. So I think she knew there was insurance, but there may not have been insurance. I didn't know about it. I was going to be told about it after the fact. His testimony really wasn't that credible, and he has a motive. Right now, this gentleman has no motive to lie, and he's telling everything about the affair. And let me tell you something. Wanting someone's wife exclusively is a motive to commit murder.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go back in for more of his testimony.
Kinds of stuff. I'm talking about if you're talking about on a sexual basis, yes. But sometimes we're like, let's go here, let's go do this, let's go work out, or let's go, you know. It depends on what subject you're talking about. What subject are you talking about?
Sexually.
All right, I narrowed it down.
Did you treat her the same way you had treated prior girlfriends or wives or not?
Sometimes.
So describe how you treated her sexually in terms of what you would do.
In the beginning, it was, you know, it's just the traditional, you know, the traditional stuff that everybody does. And
did that lead to something else?
Well, it leads, you know, after a while you do the same old thing. After a while, it tends to get boring. So, you know, I would.
You're under oath, so...
I know. I'm watching my words. Is what I'm trying to do. I'm watching my words. It was all a feeling. It was all based on what was going on and how we felt. So sometimes I would say it would be from take your clothes off, or it could be from I want to see you naked in the car, or something like that. It just varied. It all varied how the feeling was, how she reacted, what I wanted, how I felt. If I felt like I wanted to, you know, it depends on the timing, what was going on, if we had time to do stuff. It all depends. It all depended on a lot of stuff.
Did you try to push the boundaries of what you were doing?
Boundaries?
In other words, would you order or tell her to have sex in public?
No, not in public. No.
Well, outside of your house, for instance, or your residence, in the car.
Yeah, we've done that. We would do that. We would go to a restaurant and, you know, just be spontaneous and have sex in the car, or have sex on an not an off ramp, on an overwalks where you overwalk on a highway. It would be nobody there. I'm like, come here. I wanted to keep it different for her. I wanted her not to be the same old that everyone does. So.
Kind of fulfill her fantasies?
Well, yeah. I just wanted to feel her out, to see, you know, where she wanted to go. I wanted her to have fun with everything, not just sexually, just everything. Sex was part of it, but everything. I wanted her to enjoy her life, period. Sex was a small part of it.
What led you to believe she wasn't enjoying life up to that time?
Because when we went out and when I took her places, I can tell she had really enjoyed herself, and she wasn't working, or she didn't feel like she was under obligation doing the family thing. She could be herself. and it made me feel good to see that.
Did that include be yourself sexually?
That too. That too.
So was it your goal to fulfill her fantasies?
My goal was to make her happy, whatever that was.
No matter what?
Sexually, platonically, personally, everything. Everything. That was my goal.
So give me an example of where you would engage in some kind of sexual conduct where outside of your residence?
Outside of a bar. We play pool. We'll go out to in the parking lot. She'll win a game. You know, she wins a game. I'll lose a game. She wins. I mean, she wins me. As stupid as that sounds.
Well, the prize was some kind of sexual act the other one would perform, or what?
The prize is, the prize is me. That's the, I mean, I'm not a prize, but that's the prize. If she was happy, I'm happy. That's the bottom line on that.
Did you know at any time when her husband Fabio would be out of town on business?
Yes, she would let me know he was out of town, so that way we could spend a little bit more time together. But it was like never like overnighters or nothing like that, because she would never leave the house overnight like that.
So was there some time by which she had to be home every time you saw her?
She would always try to be home for her daughters.
Does that mean dinner time or some other time? What?
For whatever time it was. I guess it was dinner time, or maybe school, or just being home. She would tell me, I just want to be home for them when they get home. She would always tell me that.
So
and especially in the beginning.
So still important for her to keep it secret?
Yes.
So is it fair to say, at least in the beginning, there was no overnighters?
No overnighters, no.
Would she get home by dinner time? Was that one of the rules?
She would be home way before dinner, just to make sure she had dinner cooked and all that stuff.
Kind of two separate lives.
Yeah.
Did this ever evolve, and I'm talking about prior to the time that you killed Fabio, did this ever involve a trip out of town?
No, we took a trip. Well, you said beforehand?
Before Fabio's death.
I
ever go to Vegas, for instance?
I think we did. I think we did.
Okay. Who paid for that? Do you recall?
It was a combined thing.
And did you ever go, let me ask first, when you went to restaurants, for instance, in Los Angeles, at times did you go with friends of yours?
When all of us went together, you're saying? Is
Yes.
that what you're saying?
Like you and another couple?
Yeah, this was later down the line, yeah.
Okay. But we're still talking about prior to Fabio's murder.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm with you.
Did you go out with other couples, friends of yours?
Just one.
Who?
Just Ricardo and Sheila.
Okay.
I think that's the only one.
And how would you tell them, or what would you tell them your relationship was with Monica?
That we were seeing each other. I had come to trust Ricardo and Sheila, and they were good. They were pretty good friends of mine, so I felt comfortable with that.
Did you tell them that she had a husband?
Yes. They knew that. They knew that.
Well, they only knew it if one of you told them, right?
Well, I think they knew that beforehand. I'm pretty sure, because I didn't have to tell them that.
All right.
Because in the league, everybody knows everybody's business. So everybody kind of knew that Monica was married already.
Okay. But did everybody know that she was seeing you?
No.
Okay. How often during a week would you see her, if you can put a number on that? Or did that vary?
It varied a lot. It varied. Sometimes I wouldn't see her at all. Sometimes I see her 3 times a week. It was sporadic.
All right, folks, we're going to hit the pause button. We need to take a break, but first we have this programming note. In the unfaithful wife murder case going on in Utah, accused killer Jennifer Gledhill will be back in court tomorrow. Prosecutors say she murdered her husband, Matthew Johnson, who was a National Guardsman, while he was asleep in bed last year. Now, his remains still have not been found. 2 weeks ago, a judge denied Gledhill's request for bail after the state showed DNA evidence of the victim's blood on a rug and other areas inside their bedroom. Our Court TV cameras will be at her pretrial conference tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, And of course, we'll bring you the latest updates from that case. All right, we'll take that break now. When we get back, we're going to have more testimony from Robert Baker in the celebrity stylist murder trial. So keep it here on Court TV. Welcome back to our special coverage in the celebrity stylist murder trial of Monica Sementilli. I'm Michael Ayala. Monica's lover, Robert Baker, has been testifying about the murder of Fabio Sementilli. Now, early in his testimony, he said point blank, Monica was not involved. He also testified about how he planned and carried out the murder with the help of another man, Christopher Austin. You heard him testify in this case for the state. He said Monica was involved. I want to get you back into court now for more testimony from Robert Baker.
During that time, I assume you told her you were faithful to her?
Yes.
Were you?
I was.
So at any time during your relationship with her, and I'm talking about before or after the murder of her husband, did you ever cheat on her?
No, I didn't.
So you were not seeing anybody else on the side?
No, from the time I met her and I got in a relationship with her, I didn't go outside of anything of her.
Did you use more than one email address or phone number or anything of that nature during the time that you were seeing her to keep it secret?
I did.
Let me tell us what you did to do that.
Well, the emails and texts, I'm hanging out with the emails I use sometimes were just so they won't be mine. Just so they won't be mine, I would use different emails. I had a whole bunch of emails, for business, for personal stuff, all kind of stuff. So it all depends. But for her, I would use a different email at times. Let me see. The text stayed the same. The Viber stayed the same. Yeah, just the emails.
More than one phone, or just always one phone, or what?
I used the same phone with her. With her, I used the same phone.
What about with others?
Other people, I had another phone. I always keep an extra phone. Always kept it.
So, did you have one phone for her?
It was my regular phone, the one I used for everyday use here. And I had another phone, which I kept as a possible throwaway for anything, just for anything. It doesn't mean I was doing anything criminal at the time. It kept an extra phone.
Did you ever go to her house?
Yes.
And I'm talking about before Fabio's murder.
Yes.
Can you tell us the first time and when that might have been?
I don't remember.
Why did you go to her house?
To see her, of course, to see her.
How did you know no one else would be home?
Because she would let me know that nobody's home.
Did you ever run and go there when someone else was there?
I don't know. I don't
Ever sleep over there and get caught by one of her daughters?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that. How did that happen?
Got drunk. I got drunk.
With her or without her?
No, just me.
Okay.
Just me. I was drunk. Couldn't drive. She asked me to stay. Oh, she didn't want me to go home. And she said if I stay quiet, I could just stay out, sleep it off there.
So you were at her house that day?
That night. It was a night. I think it was a night or something.
Where were her kids and husband?
I'm thinking maybe Fabio was out of town. I'm not sure.
And her daughters?
And I don't know, because Jessica walked in when I saw her get up, and she screamed and I screamed at the same time. And
in the morning?
It was in the morning.
And do you know what was told to her to explain why you were there?
I wasn't told.
Did you get out? Get out of there?
Yes, I did. I let her know that, I let Monica know that we had a little accident, that she came in the room, Jessica came in the room, and I just went ahead and left.
Where was Jessica at that time? Was she still there?
Yeah, no, she left. She left the room. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and she walked out. So I'm sorry too, and I got, you know.
Did you tell her any story, or leave that to Monica?
I didn't talk to her.
So you left.
Yeah.
Any other times that you were at her house before the murder?
Before the murder, maybe once or twice more. I'm not sure how many times, but a couple of times, once or twice more.